Welcome to another episode of the Eric Crocker Show. Of course, I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, and I miss those days. I do want to get into training camp. What is it like? My experience doing all of that. What's for show? What's flash? We're gonna see videos of Trey Lance and him throwing improved mechanics. What's that going to do for him? Pictures of Brock Purdy, not actually throwing the ball, but you see the quads and everything. He's looking good. He's ready to go. And just training camp in general. Debo Samuel, his workout videos that's being pumped out right now. How he's going to team up with Brandon Ayuk. There's a whole lot to kind of pile here, and really more of a Q&A. All right, I think a lot of people talk about some of the same things as it pertains to camp. Here's some camp battles. And I'm pretty sure we'll do a lot of it on Locked On 49ers as well with myself, Brian Peacock, where we dive into that. And I think unpack some of what Kyle Shanahan is going to say today in the presser. But ultimately, man, listen, I'm just ready for some football. I'm ready for some football. I am ready. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. You know what to do. Hit the like button and
subscribe to this
yeah,
video.
yeah. Shout out to everybody that's in the 209. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to all my 209ers in the house. You feel me? Real Stockton. Hey man, I've been trying to change my Instagram page to Crocky 209, and they just won't let me change my name, man. They're trying to hate on me, trying to represent the crib. You feel me? That's some trash, man. That's some trash. Shout out to everybody in here. I see the flames coming in. 5 flames if you're feeling good. Anything less than that, we need to talk about it. Shout out to Michael in here with the flames. Raphael in here with the flames. Sandra in here with the flames. Everybody feeling good. Case 49. Appreciate you coming on yesterday. It's training camp or training camp. All right, so I guess let's start with that with training camp. All right, and of course, if you aren't watching live on YouTube or just watching on YouTube in general, you can find the audio version of this the link is in the description below. So there is the audio version. I don't think a whole lot of people listen to it, but some people do. There are some listens, again, some listens. All right, but it ain't nothing like Locked On 49ers. So we got a big following there. I will see a lot of y'all at camp. I'll be there for sure. I got a couple of tickets, all right. And you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, anybody got some extra tickets? Crocky will be there. It ain't nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump for me to fly to California. And I want to be there. I want to be there in person. The tickets sold out hella fast, but I will be there on Sunday and I will be there on Thursday. All right. So Sunday, I'm there in the house. Thursday, I'm there in the house. You feel me? Watching practice. Unless we can get credentialed. And we haven't heard back yet. So it sounds like they still hating on the Locked On crew, man. They out here tripping with us. They out here tripping with us. But here we go. Hold on. Who is calling me this early in the morning? Jesse Oliver. All right, listen to that right now. All right. Bang Gums. It's funny boys say the passes were on air, but if he was missing this pass, it would be an issue. You know what? Let's talk about that. All right, so this is has to do with trading camp. Trading camp. I'm having trouble saying that. Trading camp. Trade camp. All right. Workout videos. What does it mean? I don't think it means a whole lot. It doesn't mean a whole lot. You see videos of Trey Lance and he's working with Jeff Christiansen and he's throwing the ball and it looks good and everything. Trey Lance isn't, first of all, I could be wrong. I haven't seen him post anything. I also don't follow him on social media. I don't really follow most of these athletes on social media. All right. But I haven't really seen him post it. So he's there to get work. He's there to improve. He's there to get better. He's there to work with Jeff Christiansen and try to work towards creating good habits. All right. That's what he's doing. And in the process, you got guys that, film stuff and they post stuff and et cetera, and the fans get to see it, and that's exciting. But ultimately, he's putting in work. You want him to be good. Well, hold on. I know I want him to be good. I want all these guys to be good. I want Brock Purdy to be good. There are people that I believe don't want him to be good because they want to be right about him not being good. All right. So there are those people, but for the most majority of people, and a lot of people that we hear from, I mean, I might get I don't know. It's training camp right now. Let's say 2,000, 3,000 views on this video or whatever. Out of the 3,000 views, I might get 20 comments and I'll get, maybe 20 of y'all are commenting here. So it's a small percentage of the people that really express how they feel. And most people genuinely just want to see everybody be good. But there's a small majority that want to push back on certain things because they just want this guy to be good for whatever reason. I want everybody to be good. But it's time for guys to work on their weaknesses, work on their strengths, and try to continue to improve. And as it pertains to Trey Lance, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to create good habits. All right. He's trying to, it's like, hey, I missed these kind of throws. Let me work on these things. Let me work on this. Let me work on my footwork. It has to start somewhere, right? Unless you just want him to continue to be this person that, misses this throw or misses that throw. Like, no, you're supposed to work on it. That's what the offseason is for. So there are people that are excited about what it looks like on air. And I would say it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. Now he has to do it in live action, of course. But you got to start somewhere. It's like my daughter. And my daughter is 7 years old. And she reads very well. But I remember when she was 5. And didn't read very well, right? She's like struggling and has to sound it out, has to break it down into syllables. And, she gets frustrated because she wants to read like her big sister, who's 2 years older than her, and her big sister could read everything very well. She's like, man, I want to read like my sister. And it's like, well, hold on, mama. You got to just keep practicing. So every day, she would come home and, she would read and she wants us to read to her and, she, read the bed. And then she starts reading to us and the books get more and more difficult. And next thing you know, I feel like there's not very many words she can't pronounce and she reads very well, right? But it's like it had to start from somewhere. It had to start from somewhere. She struggled at it, wasn't great when she was 5 years old. At 7 years old now, she reads extremely well. And I feel like there's most books. Now, she might not understand exactly what the word is, but she can read the damn word. She can sound it out and pronounce it and all that good stuff. It flows very well. That's the process. And with Trey Lance, there's a process. I mean, he's a guy that's young and he hasn't really thrown a whole lot of passes. And he's working and trying to figure it out. He's working with different trainers each year. He's trying to figure out which guy is going to be the best for him and trying to get in the groove. And he missed time because he broke his ankle. And it's like, what do y'all want from him? Like anybody else, he's trying to get better. Dude is young. He's still, I think last year, we're talking about 2022 season. It was the second year in the NFL. He was still the youngest quarterback in the NFL. Like, dude's hella young. So he's just working on things and he's trying to improve and trying to get better. Like, cool. Cool. That's not an issue. Unless you don't want him to be good, which I think is extremely weird. All right. But I like what I've seen. You talk about the throwing motion, being more compact, things like that. Will it hold up throughout camp? I don't know. Will there be reps where it gets away from him? Probably. And when he has those reps, does he step back and kind of go through working some of the mechanics that, okay, like what I do? Okay, I got maybe my front shoulder flashed a little too quick, and then I overstride with my front foot. Got to get that down quicker or whatever. Okay, let me step back and okay, cool, and then go and then try to do it again. And then the more that these things become just consistent, the more consistent you'll see him throwing the ball. But it has to start somewhere. And it's really weird. I even seen my guy, shout out to David Lombardi. First of all, in person, David Lombardi, big dude. He's like 6'6". All right. But he's like the swimmer. He looks like a swimmer. But Lombardi is like, yeah, it's cool, seeing the videos and stuff. But it's like, David, it got to start somewhere. The work, the habits, it has to start somewhere. So he's doing it and it looks good. And they talked about it during OTAs. Like it looked better, like the way he was throwing the ball, and he's trying to continue to improve on that. And good for Trey Lance. And I hope it works out. And if it does, that is awesome. All right. So we see the videos of Lance throwing the ball. Looks good. Now, hey man, you get a chance to see it in live action in a couple days. And I think that's going to be cool as well. I see my guy Double B Studio. He said, expectations for the day. Who are you looking for at first? I'm going to get back to this. All right. So we got that super chat start. Brock Purdy. Again, even with him, everything is in progressions. I want to see Brock Purdy do well. I want to see him be healthy 100%. Steve Young said, 6 months removed from the injury, I don't think he's 100% going to let it rip week one. And I've talked about how I feel like he's 100% healed in the sense of the elbow. Like, I don't know if he can do anything right now that's going to rip apart the elbow that's repaired. I think the elbow is fine. Now it's just building up the strength and, the arm endurance to, throw the ball, all that good stuff to be 100%. But he's moving around. The quads are on full tilt. And so maybe he hasn't been able to do a whole lot of stuff, lifting and throwing with his arm, but he definitely has been doing some goddamn front squats, some Bulgarian split squats. He's been doing all that because the quads look crazy. But awesome, man. It was cool. I saw the pictures yesterday floating around. I'm like, man, it's cool to see Brock Purdy look like he's moving around. Again, I didn't see a live video. I just saw still shots. I'm like, he's moving around. Like, that's good. Ultimately, I want to see the 49ers be good. So if it's Brock Purdy, if it's Trey Lance, if it's Sam Darnold, I really don't give a damn. I'm gonna be rooting for the Niners regardless. And I'm rooting. I would say if I'm rooting for anybody more, it definitely would be Trey Lance, but not because I just want Trey Lance. It's just I see everybody put him down, man. I see people talking about him. Anytime somebody posts something about him, I just see like these same people talk bad about him. They talk about his hair and his hairline as somebody that's bald. Hey, man, let him wear his hat during his workouts. So I think just because the way that people talk about him, I really like the underdogs. And I feel like as somebody that was drafted number 3 overall, he shouldn't be an underdog, but right now he is. In the way that just the media talks about him, the fans talk about him, which is crazy to me. I might be rooting a little bit more for him because of that. I want to see the underdog win. All right. But if Brock Brady's out there, trust me, I'm 100% fine. I do not care. I do not care who the starting quarterback is for 49ers. All right. I want to see all these dudes do well. BA leaked that the front office told them Purdy going to be ready for camp. Awesome. Awesome. That is awesome. All right. And here's why that is even more awesome. Because Brock Purdy, let's say right now, I believe this to my core, and I could be wrong. Training camp, and I'll talk about how training camp is and how it kind of goes and flows and all that. But it only kind of goes up to like preseason or like after like the first game. Then it kind of like the training camp ends, and then now it's just preseason. You're getting ready for the regular season. All right. But you only have so much of like trying to like really being able to compete. So if you just don't see Brock Purdy out there, I feel like I don't want to say handed the job because he earned it with how he played last season, but I don't think that Sam Bradford or Trey Lance would have an opportunity to truly compete. Now, how much can you compete against a guy that did not lose any game that he finished last year in over 8-9 games or whatever it was? And all you have to have is training camp to compete against him. I don't even think that's not like really a fair fight. So I don't know how much you can do, but I do know this. It's one of those things that, what can I compare it to? You don't know what you don't know. It's like a test or something, right? Where if you just get passed along, as opposed to somebody that has to take the test, there's an opportunity for them to maybe fail, as opposed to you is like, hey, I just got passed on because I did this other thing, so I'm like good. I don't have to take the test. There is a scenario where Brock Purdy goes out there to training camp if he was able to practice and not do well. Like that is something realistic. Now, again, how much will they weigh on that? Maybe not much. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo throw 5 interceptions in the practice. And, we saw Jimmy Garoppolo not be the best practice player. It didn't matter. Like, he was going to be the starter. So maybe it doesn't matter. But I will say, if there is like a legit competition and Trey Lance comes in there and all of a sudden, oh my goodness, Trey Lance is lighting it up and he's completing all these short passes and over the middle and the ball's flying out of his hands and he's throwing the ball down the field. Oh my goodness, he's the same coming up goddamn Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, you see something crazy like that. And then Brock Purdy just doesn't look good. Then I think it's just like, you kind of have to make it a competition. But if Brock Purdy out there and Trey Lance could do whatever he wants, there ain't no competition. I feel like if Brock Brady's not out there and he's not actually like throwing at camp, competing 7-on-7 team stuff, and Trey Lance, I don't think it matters what Trey or Sam Darnold do. I think week one, by the time week one comes, they would have built up Brock Purdy to just okay, you're the starter. We're just gonna get you ready to start. The one thing it does help for a Trey Lance or even a Sam Darnold is if a team comes calling. If Washington is like, Sam Howell, you're just not very good, Sam. But everything out of the camp with 49ers looks good. Trey Lance, look at him. You watch Trey Lance in the preseason. Trey Lance looked pretty damn good against the Raiders. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, look what Trey Lance did. Then that's when it's like, all right, we'll give you all a first round pick for him, which right now, shit, can you get a fifth for Trey Lance? I don't know. But if he's balling and he balls in preseason and he's starting to light it up, and you have one of these teams that either have an injury to the quarterback position or they have a guy that maybe not the long term answer, then I could see like that's when it matters what Trey Lance does. But I don't know, especially if Brock doesn't practice at all in camp and doesn't practice until like you're getting ready for like the last preseason game in the regular season. I don't know if Lance can compete against that. So BA, aka Brandon Ayuk, leaked that the front office told them Purdy is going to be ready for camp. Ready for camp and ready for live action are two different things. Last year, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo was ready for camp, but he was off to the side throwing, rehabbing, right? So there's a difference there. You can be ready and they still not 100% clear you to where you're ready for live action. All right. See everybody in the chat, everything flowing in. Let's get to some of these. All right, let's start with it. Expectation for the day. Who are you looking at first? I would say you have to start with the quarterback position, right? You know, we just talked about Trey Lance and he's putting in a lot of work in the offseason. What does he look like? Also, Sam Darnold, what does Sam Darnold look like? He's a guy who, there wasn't much separation between him and Trey Lance. Who gets the first snaps? What does it look like? Is Elijah Mitchell healthy? That's another thing I'll be looking at. Is Travarius Ward healthy? That's another thing I'll be looking at. How does Deommodore Lenoir look? Drake Jackson as a starter, coming in, is he the number one edge guy? I think those are the things. I don't really have like these high expectations, but those are definitely things I'll be looking for first. All right, here we go. Official BNA music. Folks knock Trey Lance video about hype Brock Purdy's workout picks. Guys have their people that they like, and again, it feels like they feel like they got to pick a side, like Crips and Bloods, and so there's a lot of that going on. And I think it's weird because they're all 49ers. Again, I'm very transparent. If I had to be rooting for, if you just held a gun to my head and like, who do you want to win the starting job? I'd be like Trey Lance because I hate how people talk about him. But that's the only reason why. I just hate that the people talk bad about a guy who started 3 games or whatever it is. And it's like, dang, man, like y'all done talk bad about dude. You talk about his hairline. You talk about, this. You talk bad about him because somebody posted a workout video of him. He ain't even posted. Somebody else posted and it's like, it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's weird to me. A lot of weird shit going on. So I'm rooting for the guy because I like rooting for the underdogs. Only reason Sam was brought in was to push Trey. You know what? I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that Sam Darnold was truly brought in to where it's like, hey, hey, we'll see. We like Sam Darnold. I think if you can bring in Sam Darnold for the low, why not? I would. But I also like Sam Darnold. So I like Sam Darnold as a prospect. Sam Darnold as an NFL quarterback has been streaky, but I do feel like if there's anywhere he could turn it around, it's probably this 49ers team. The 49ers team is set up for whoever is that quarterback. If you can just get into a groove, you're set up for success. The tough thing with guys like Trey Lance or Sam Darnold or even Brock Purdy is just like playing a bunch of games in a row to get in a groove. We saw Jimmy, once he kind of got in the groove, boom, team is set up for me to be successful. He was successful. And I'm talking about last year because first start we saw him in looked a little weird against Denver Broncos, right? We had to pick 8, which was amazing. How somebody was able to do that, that's crazy. But like once he got into a groove, it's like cool. Then you got Christian McCaffrey, and it's like wow, Jimmy Garoppolo looking good. Then he gets hurt. Right. Then Brock Purdy comes and he's in a groove, and it's like this team is set up to where if you're in a groove, you're gonna be cool. So if Sam Darnold comes in, I don't have these like high expectations, but I do think like I can see Sam Darnold like getting in the groove and being good, like with for the 49ers, with this team, with this roster. Looking forward to seeing Brandon Ayuk tear up CBs. You know what the funny thing about that is? In training camp, in training camp, the fans hate when the defense makes plays. You have a defense that was a top unit in the league, and they just really want to see the defense get bombed on. And if the defense makes a play, it's viewed as like a negative. It's really weird because it's like, say Sam Donald throws a pick and Travarius Ward picks him off, or Talanoa Hufanga picks him off, or Tayshaun Gibson picks him off, or Jair Brown picks him off, where Sam Darnold or Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. People will rip the quarterback. But it's like, isn't that what those dudes did last year? Didn't the 49ers have the most interceptions in the NFL? But they're not going to look at it as, hey, we actually have a really good defense. Maybe it's a little hard on our quarterbacks. It's like, nah. The quarterback sucks. I think that's really weird. So, talk about Brandon Ayuk ripping up the CBs. I'd say every camp so far, Brandon Ayuk has been extremely difficult to defend. They have a lot of trouble with him. I expect that to continue. But when the defender does make a play, oh man, quarterback sucks, man. It's like, do you not want the defense to make any plays? That's one thing I noticed from training camp. You can hear it. I saw Trey Lance throw a pick to Jimmy Ward in the flat. And it's like, oh man, damn. And it's like, y'all not gonna clap it up for this good defensive play that this guy just made? Jimmy Ward is one of your best defensive players. Like, you're not gonna talk about Jimmy Ward in the pick. Like, that's a positive. He's out there making plays. Let's go. Nah, man. Yeah, tear him up. All right, so training camp. Let's talk about what training camp is like. So, as you know, my experience getting to the NFL was very unique. I was an Arena League football player. I got my San Jose SaberCats. Oh, no, I played SaberCats after. So I played in San Antonio first. All right, so I was an Arena League guy. Actually, coming from a Division II school. Then I went to the Arena League. Yeah, I get to the Arena League, and I'm thinking like, I didn't really know what to expect. It was like, damn, all y'all motherfuckers been to the NFL or CFL or big colleges? Like, I mean, I was like the little guy there. And I came in, I competed, nothing was guaranteed, and I ended up starting every game. I was, I kind of downplay how it was as an athlete, but I was actually pretty good. Okay, so anyways, started every game as a rookie. I was the only rookie that started the entire season. And next thing you know, off season comes, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these hits. The NFL comes calling. It was like 10 teams. I worked out for the New Orleans Saints. I worked out for the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of those teams flew me in. And then I worked out for the New York Jets. New York Jets ended up signing me. So I ended up reporting in with the veterans. I was able, because I was coming from the Arena League, I was able to report with the veterans early April. And, you go through the offseason, the OTAs, the workouts, the ramp up period. The rookies come in, after the draft and all that. Then, you kind of keep everything going. You got the month away, you work, you train, you get ready for, you get your body ready, all that stuff. And then, boom, you report for training camp. All right. And definitely experienced training camp fights. We'll get to that. All right. I just started that. So you get to training camp, and first the rookies report. All right. So the rookies and some of the second year guys, you report first and you practice. All right. So you practice, you do all that, you get a bunch of reps. So it feels good. You get a bunch of reps for a guy that typically, especially like me, on my roster, you're a third string guy. You're not going to get many reps with the ones and twos. So you have this kind of like starters get 5 reps, 6 reps. Second string gets 5-6 reps. Starters get 5-6 reps. Second string 5-6 reps. Third string 3 reps, 4 if you're lucky, right? And then they move on to the next, whatever the next thing is. So that might be 7-on-7. Then it's the same for team as well. The days aren't very difficult, but they are extremely long. All right. Now, back in the day, you used to have like legit 2-a-days, fully padded up, all that. When I was playing in 2013, you did have quote unquote 2-a-days, but one of the 2-a-day practices was just a walkthrough. And it's not even like very long, maybe 45 minutes or whatever. But it was an extremely long day. For rookies, you had to wake up 5 a.m., go lift. All right. Then you come back, you eat your breakfast, then you have team meetings or whatever. They're going to go over what you're going to go over, in practice or whatever. Boom, you get out of there, you go, you practice, and then you're done with practice, and then you get to eat. And then after you eat, you watch film. Then after you watch film, you go out, and now you have that 45 minutes to hour walkthrough, which is essentially part of the double day. And then after that, you're going to end up having dinner. And then the rookies, or then you have like special teams meetings. Then the rookies have another meeting. And then by 9 o'clock, you get to go back to your room. And what do you do at your room? You got to study. All right. You got to study playbook, all that stuff. So pretty much the days were dang near nonstop for a rookie from 5 a.m. to about 11 p.m. And then you wake up. So that was probably the more difficult part, which is really long days, and you just kind of get tired. And it's like every day, it's just busy. It's just busy. So that's kind of how training camp is. That's kind of what these guys are going to go through. Long days. You go out practice. Practice was I'd say the NFL practice, nothing is ran better than the NFL practice. It's just boom, 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 boom. That horn blows, move to the next thing. Horn blows, move to the next thing. Horn blows, move to the next thing. I mean, it was on time, and you were in and out in about an hour, 45 minutes. CMC versus Fred Warner in training camp. That's going to be good because CMC, he's going to work hard. He's going to bring it. Fred Warner, I think we all know the tenacity that he practices with, especially in training camp. We already saw Brandon Ayuk post on Instagram on his story, like, if you are in a white uniform or if you're in a red uniform, whatever it was, the opposite uniform of the offense, fuck you. And like, that's how it is. That's how, like, bro, we at you. All right. We're not buddies. We ain't buddies now. And then I saw the hyena post that same thing, essentially. Looking forward to seeing BA tear up. We read that. Here we go. Croc, did you witness any training camp fights when you played? Hell yeah. A big one was Antonio Cromartie. So Antonio Cromartie, first of all, huge dude in person, looks 6'4", 220 pounds. Like, he's big cornerback. I can't keep up with him. Like, dude was a physical freak. There are those physical freaks. They're kind of outliers though. So there's only one Antonio Cromartie, right? Like the rest of the defensive backs are more like normal. I was a big defensive back at 6'2", 200 pounds. Like, I was a big cornerback. The other corners, like, the Aaron Berries, the Kyle Wilsons, they're just not as big. Like 5'9", 190. You 5'10", 190. You had D. Milliner. D. Milliner was a little bit bigger, 6'1", 200 pounds. But Cromartie was an outlier with his size, with just height, weight, speed, like just an outlier. Well, we're doing drills. It starts to get testy. And there's one-on-ones. And Vidal Hazelton went to USC, went to Cincinnati. Vidal Hazelton, who actually tore his ACL in training camp, but he ran like a comeback and just kind of whooped Cromartie a little bit on the comeback. And I guess Cromartie didn't like it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Crow was just like, man, I'm finna just set it off regardless or what. But Crow didn't like it and just ran into him. Boom! And they're just all out brawl. So, yeah, the camp fights for sure is going to jump off. And I feel like there were fights at practice at every level I went to. Every level. I mean, I've been involved. I don't know how many fights I've been involved with because I'm finna turn up too. So, yeah, you're going to see that. You're going to see that for sure. And here's the tough thing. and I've said it on here, depending on how many times you've listened or watched these shows, offense and defense, they're not close. It's almost like you're two different teams. You see each other in the locker room, and maybe the longer you're just on a team with somebody, you kind of build more of like, okay, maybe I do hang out with some of these guys on the other side of the ball. But for the most part, defensive guys hang out with defensive guys, offensive guys hang out with offensive guys. And just think about it. How many times have y'all seen how many times have y'all seen an offensive guy out with a defensive guy, like at a Warriors game? When you look at the Warriors games and you look on that bench, do you see Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Ward, Fred Warner, Brandon Ayuk? Nah, you see Jimmy G, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, right? Kyle Juszczyk. Like defense and offense, they not like tight like that. So when I saw Brandon Ayuk and Fred Warner go at it last year, and it's not personal, but there is a legit scenario. Now again, they could be close, they could be tight, they could be all that. But I know from my experience, the offense and defense, you're kind of like you don't really come together a whole lot. Like the only time you're really truly together is in the meeting, in the initial like meeting when you have like the first meeting, a team meeting or something like that. You might sit with mix it up and sit with some of the offensive guys, and then like when you're eating or something. But aside from that, you're a defensive guy, you're with defense. You're an offensive guy, you're with offense. So guys might not be close. So when I saw Brandon Ayuk and Fred Warner go at it, I'm like, there is a legit chance that Brandon Ayuk just might not fuck with Fred Warner. Like they just might not be cool like that. Like not saying they hate each other, but they might not be boys. So like yeah, like you doing all the little stuff, you like it's funk on site because I don't really even mess with you like that. Now again, you can have a tight knit group in the locker room. You can have all that, and maybe they are closer. Especially now, they play with each other for going on 4 years. But there's a chance that they ain't tight like people think. Like, and I'm not trying to start that. I'm just saying like from my experience, offense and defense is damn near two different teams out there. Here we go. Bold prediction. Purdy doesn't play another down on this team with a healthy Trey here. And please stop the trade talk. Trey needs a nice backup. That is a bold prediction. That is a bold prediction. I would say that's a bold prediction. I wouldn't predict that. Just reading between the lines, not even reading between the lines, just listening to everything that they're saying right now. It just sounds like they lean towards Brock Purdy. The team, the players, the coaches. Now, again, Trey Lance can go out there and light it up, and you can see a different version of him. Then he's got to do it in the game, and not just a preseason game. He's going to have to like do it in a regular season game. Again, he did it in the Texas game, play well, but got it. Yeah, we'll see. That is a very bold prediction. I'll give you that. All right, here we go, and then we got Drewish guy. He says Poe versus Fisher short arm battle. Fisher's arms with how short they are. Yeah, that was surprising. Are the 49ers playing him at guard? Because typically, I mean, you see a guy with short arms like that, like man, you put him at the guard position. You put him at the guard position. Short arm battle. I like that. All right, here we go again. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Hope everybody's having a great day. I had a good workout today. Do y'all work out in the morning? I like starting my day with a nice little workout. I might hit the weights again a little bit later. You can click the link in the chat, come on live, or you can just put your questions in the chat, and I'm going to answer everything. This is going to be like kind of a Q&A for the rest of these last 20 minutes that we're on here. Again, if you don't already know, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. You see all the details right there. Use the promo code Crocky to double your initial deposit up to $100. All right. So Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky, all that good stuff. Download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com and use my promo code. Damn it. All right. And do y'all want to do like a underdog best ball thing? We could do that. I can actually set that up right now. I'll set that up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll set up a link. I'll post a link, and then when it fills up, the chat, it starts right away. The draft in this best ball format. So we'll get into that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all the day ones and the real day ones. Man, my dog Abel. All right. Shout out to my dog Abel. Abel, you on the road right now? We've been down since fourth grade. We've been down since fourth grade. Abel's been my dog since fourth grade. Love you, bro. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Crocky, which QB starts week 1? Brock Purdy. That's the easy answer. That's the easy answer. Now, I ain't saying Trey can't start, but I feel like it'll take a lot for Lance to start. He's got to be on it. He's got to be firing on all cylinders. And Brock Purdy either has to be or not healthy, or he's back and it just looks like crap. And they just want to maybe put him on pup list and give him more time. Like that's the only thing I could think of. Like that will open up that door for Trey Lance to start. But I don't know how much Trey can do in training camp to just beat out Brock Purdy. Matter of fact, there's not much because you're weighing it against games, like live games. Training camp and everything about training camp. Now, here's the thing. Most of it is scripted. All right, a lot of this stuff is scripted. It's like the plays you're gonna play, you're gonna do, and everything. You can kind of look over it, and kind of the offense can kind of manipulate it or whatever to where you have some level of success, the different things that they want to see. If you are going against the Raiders in a joint practice, there might be more of an opportunity to really show out. But you got to really show out, and it's still kind of hard. But you show out in a joint practice, then hey, start opening up some eyes. There are going to be some people that start talking about it. You got to show out, though. You got to show out. My guy Abel says he's driving down I-5 right now. Brock is the day one starter bearing any setbacks. And I agree, Abel. Right. And like if you take your emotions out of it, that seems and feels like the most logical answer. Right. Like he just did so well last year. He did so well. Something will have to just go drastically wrong. Injury, or he just comes back and it's clear maybe that it's just not ready to throw the way he needs to throw. That's the only thing I can think of. Purdy is no better than Case Keenum. Now, look, I'm not saying he's no better than Case Keenum. I ain't going to say that. But I would say right now, based off of what it looked like to me, he does some things very well. I'm not the one that's ready to say that he's just better than Case Keenum. I don't crown people like that. Because especially if you don't have like a real fastball, like if you I don't know what he could rely on from a physical standpoint, right? I feel like a lot of the ways that Brock wins is more from the mental side of things, and that's awesome. Sometimes the physical needs to kind of take over, and does he have that? And we're gonna find out. And if he does, then awesome. Let's go. But I would say that we watched Case Keenum have a really good year, and then he kind of was whatever. My guy outside the echo chamber says, what more did Purdy have to do? All right, let's talk about it just a little bit. I thought that, and this is not any fault of his, I thought Brock Purdy did an amazing job of taking advantage of the things that were there for him to take advantage of. And the supporting cast really helped at the highest of levels. All right. And that is a very advantageous situation for a quarterback to be in. And he capitalized on that, and he did great. I did not see a whole lot of what my guy Haberman says. He uses the word over replacement throws. So for me, I would like to see above replacement throws. I would like to see the above replacement throws. If you watch some of these other quarterbacks, their job is just more difficult. And here's the thing. Maybe college just makes it to where, look, I don't need that type of quarterback because I'm not going to put my quarterback in that type of position. So what you saw him do last year with this team, if this is all I'm going to ask of him doing, this is going to be consistent. He doesn't have to be those guys. And there's that. All right. Like, so this might be a better way of looking at it. Because me, I'm just going off eye test, but completion over expected. All right, which was negative. So it was kind of like the completion over expected. You could correct me if I'm wrong, salty cyclist, but and he said it right here. Completion percentage over expected was negative. So again, and I don't know. All this is what I do know. When I watch, he did a great job of taking advantage of what was there. That's the best way for me to describe it. So when I look at certain things like, man, he threw this out route to George Kittle, and George Kittle just takes off, and next thing you know, he's 70 yards down the field. You could say that's the offense. And that's why it was so open, and all you gotta do is get it there. And that's cool. You also can, I could say, I remember watching the Seahawks game and in Seattle. And I think there's a lot that goes into it. Listen, I mean, he's a rookie too. So you have to take that into consideration. Like, he played very well. He threw a corner route to George Kittle against Seattle. Nobody was within 15 yards of him. Like, it was a blown coverage. So he threw it, and then George Kittle races in for a touchdown. It's a 50-yard touchdown. I'm not knocking Brock Purdy for that. I just would like to see, like, when it's consistently more difficult, what does it look like? And I saw that against Dallas, where it was consistently more difficult, and what that looked like. So, and Dallas had a good defense. They do. So, I don't want to just say, oh, well, Brock's the only person that just didn't play lights out against Dallas. I think he made some key throws down the stretch. But just watching him, Steve Young, extremely high on him. I'm not quite there with Steve Young yet, where he says he has the force is with him. But 1 year, I mean, rookie with limited snaps and all that. Like, I think he played very well. We did a great job of taking advantage of what was there. And I just got to make a play here and there. I think he did a good job of that. I don't view him like I view, the Justin Herberts and like some of those guys. So if you're not Herbert and some of these other guys, if you're not that, like, what are you? And that's what I'm just trying to wrap my head around. So I hope that makes sense. I don't think there's any bad quarterback. I think he's solid. And if he starts week 1, let's go. Let's ride. But if you're asking me what more do I want to see, I want to see him create the explosive plays. Like, that's the last thing. Like, create the explosive plays. When I say create, like, not, oh, okay, it's against Washington and they blow an assignment, so I just have to throw the ball down the field and George Kittle and Ray McCloud are so wide open, they're fighting for the ball in the end zone. Not that. I mean, like, the above replacement throws. So that's what I would like to see. Steve Young was also high on Zach Wilson. It means nothing. Steve Young went to BYU. Zach Wilson went to BYU. So I won't hold that one against him. Here we go. Coming on now. We got my guy Gammon.
Hey.
Gammon, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing.
Now, I got a hard out pause in 9 minutes. So, we can't go as long as we usually go. Pause. But how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. And I saw you lifting those weights. That bar didn't bend. So, you got to start doing what the kids are doing now and have that bending bar whenever you're putting up big weights. How much was that?
415.
Damn. Okay. I saw a couple of questions in the chat. Someone asked, because I don't want to beat the dead horse of the quarterback stuff, but someone asked, how much is Bosa going to make? And then another question was, when will Bosa's deal get done? Bosa's deal will get done in the twilight hour. I think, the 3 different predictions that are out there as far as his salary or money is concerned. I think that Matt Mieko predicted, it won't be much more than what Aaron Donald is currently making. Maybe like somewhere between the same or $1 million less or $1 million over. Jason Hurley, he predicts 35 million, I believe. And then me, I had a prediction of 37 million. So if I was a betting man, I'd go with Jason Hurley's prediction. but I'm not going to really back off of the
I,
prediction.
I think he's gonna hover around 33.
33. Okay, so 33. Yeah. So I think if we're going to be fair, probably somewhere around 34, 35. I did want to ask you a couple other questions, not quarterback related, but some of the things I had here was all right. So it was sorry, I have to bring up these questions here. So I call this one a top dog and underdog. So if you had to nominate 49er as the offensive MVP, who would you nominate as the 49ers offensive MVP? Would be number one. And then next pick an offensive
Christian
underdog.
McCaffrey.
Okay. Um, and then pick an offensive underdog. This player may not be the mainstay like the MVP, but their contribution or absence could be significantly sway how Kyle Shanahan's offense plays.
Brandon Ayuk.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And then for the defense, do the same thing, but excluding Nick Bosa, who would you say is the 49ers defensive MVP?
Fred Warner.
Okay. And then name a defensive underdog whose performance on the field could noticeably affect Steve Wilkes' defense.
Isaiah Oliver.
Ooh, nice. I like that pick. Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you was, so we've I've seen this time and time again since like 2011, right? With the 49ers, like we seem to have this great defense and it just holds and holds and holds for so many years. But for whatever reason, it always feels like we're kind of like the last boss in that video game, right? Like it just doesn't. Some other team just seems to have that magic that we don't. And I'm kind of, I'm feeling like this team is really like taking this differently than like 2020 season. It was the revenge tour. I think this team is just coming out just insanely focused. But I want to call this one like evolution versus revolution, right? The Kansas City Chiefs have consistently demonstrated their ability to adapt and evolve, making critical changes that led to sustained success. This is evident in their approach to player development, coaching strategies, and handling draft picks, whether by making selections or executing trades. Contrastingly, the 49ers leadership has been steadfast in their approach, maintaining a run-it-back mentality despite not yet securing a trophy. This persistence and consistency have been their trademark, but will this be the year that it finally pays off? In other words, does their approach underscore the importance of seeing things through to the end, or could it be their lack of flexibility once again to prove their downfall? So, question I'm asking you is they tend to they're bring back the same players. They don't make whites, and they just kind of just stick to the script. Whereas like last year, nobody, people are writing kind of Kansas City off because they made all these big changes,
Right.
a lot of trades, retooled their whole offensive line. Whereas the 49ers are like, hey, let's be consistent. Let's believe in, what kind of just having the same players around, all that kind of good stuff. Do you think that this year will be the year where that kind of pays off if we just keep doing the same thing over and over again?
I think it has paid off up to this point. When you made 3 NFC Championship games in 4 years, and a lot of it is kind of the same supporting cast, but they add kind of a key guy each year, right? I mean, middle of last year they added Christian McCaffrey, and if you this is his first like true real offseason that he'll have with the squad. So I'd say they add, each year it feels like they kind of add a very key piece. I mean, whether it's McCaffrey a couple years ago, you could say Trent Williams and his contributions to the team. So the year before that, you say Nick Bosa. So they add a guy each year. I think this year it was Javon Hargraves. He's kind of that key guy that they added to kind of take them over the top. So it is a lot of the same cast or core group, but I still think there's some newness with McCaffrey and, of course, Hargraves as well.
Okay. I read some of the comments, so that was a really good feedback. So I do appreciate it, guys. I did want to say my picks, I think were Armstead. I think that he needs to have a really good season as far as just staying healthy. It's kind of big for him because of the way that his contract is structured. So he really needs to have a big season because it's going to determine because he needs to be re-signed and everything else. And that's just really going to open up a lot, I think, for everyone else. Also, too, looking at the salary cap, the way that everything's going for next year, I think it's going to be pretty difficult to re-sign, not impossible, pretty difficult to re-sign a guy like Brandon Ayuk. And so I was just curious what you think. Like, what do you think what would happen next off season? Let's say Brandon has a great year, Deebo Samuel has a down year. What do you think that the 49ers do there?
I think they'll definitely try to figure out how to keep Ayuk around. He does have a 5th-year option. So you can still, and I know there's a lot of people like, man, you're not going to be able to retain him. This is year 4 for him. He has the 5th-year option, which he would definitely get paid well. And then if you're talking about trying to extend him past the 5th-year option, I could see a scenario where if Deebo has a down year this season, he after next year, you can kind of let him go. I'm pretty sure his guaranteed money, will be off the books. And it felt like his contract was more guaranteed for like 3 years. So if you're talking about this or 2 years, usually it's kind of guaranteed more for 2 years. I'm not a capologist. We'd have to ask
Jason
Hurley. But I would guess that if Deebo has a down year this year, last year we saw, 600 yards, 2 touchdowns at the receiver position. If he has another one like that, then I bet they'd start thinking about ways to keep Ayuk around and potentially move on from Deebo, who will be kind of older at that point too.
How much more time we got left? Because I know you said like 9 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna ask 2 final questions. So I'm gonna add, this one would be if you could travel back in time, and go to visit like a 49ers event in history, which one would you want to visit that you didn't have a chance to witness?
The wild card game against the New York Giants.
Oh,
like you talking about like be able to go visit live?
Yes.
Or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, like something live that you didn't see, that you would have loved to have seen. Like I wish I would have seen that. That's the Saints 49ers like playoff game when they had like Breeze.
Yeah,
that would have been just. I bet that was just insane. But yeah, you're
talking remember
about
the wild card game against the Giants?
You're talking about Garrison. Was it when we had Garrison Hurst at running back, or no? That was a different one. That was a different game, wasn't it?
I'm talking about the one where the Niners were down big and T.O. started going crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was a good one.
Either that game or like that 94-95 Super Bowl. Even though it was a blowout, so it wasn't like a good game, but just getting that feeling because at that time I was 7, 8 years old, so it doesn't have the same impact when you're that young as it would for me now, so obviously the 49ers have been chasing that feeling of really trying to bring home that Lombardi. It's been a lot of years. It would be cool to go back there and as like 36-year-old Eric Crocker and get to feel like what it was like to watch your team win a championship.
Yeah, wasn't that the same game where they had to bring in like an old retired kicker out there just to like try and make a kick? I think I don't know.
You talking about the Giants game?
Yeah. I think that was something, and
it was either old kicker or holder, the snapper.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, they had a weird thing. All right, and then last question I got for you: who's better, Drake or J. Cole?
Ooh, it's hard to here I go, making it more difficult. It's hard to compare the two. They're drastically different styles. It's like, what am I going for? Am I trying to just like, just hear like, man, like this is motivating, good music? Then I would go with J. Cole. But if you're just talking about like, I just want to like, hey, I'm working out and I want to hear something, or just I'm just gonna put this artist on and just let it play through. Drake has so many features. He has so many different styles that he's touched on. He has a music for every kind of mood. It would be hard to go against Drake in that. And the crazy thing about Drake, he gets so much pushback a lot, but all he does is put out hits, and as soon as the stuff drops, people they say they don't listen to it, but the numbers say otherwise. So Drake he's been holding it down. This is typically what happens though. Somebody that's just at the top, he's at the top of the music game. Like there's nothing that he doesn't do that doesn't go like super like noticed. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, absolutely. I like what let's see, someone said neither, and then what Forever Faithful said J. Cole, he writes his own lyrics. So that's pretty good.
Drake is an amazing entertainer. So that's how I look at him. But as far as like music wise, he's very creative. Whether it's him by himself, whether it's his team, but you know, Drake's that guy. Matter of fact, and I see Case 49 says Drake should stick to R&B. I don't think so. I think Drake with the Scorpion or Scorpio album, where it was like a hip hop album side A, then an R&B album side B. I wish he did that more because it like I thought that was great. And the way he was getting at Kanye throughout that whole A side album. I mean, he was talking about Kanye that whole thing. It was really good. Very very well put together.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, and then everybody, thank you for the feedback. I was trying something different out there,
Love it.
and then I'm just gonna end on this. I'm cheering for all of them to be successful. Even Sam, if how everything trends, Brandon Allen could be our quarterback. So we really
You
need
never
all.
know, huh?
You never know. We really need them all to do well, and Kyle Shanahan's not going to pick the quarterback. He did that when he did that with Trey Lance, and it kind of pissed off the locker room a little bit. And then so it's really up to the locker room to determine who they want the starter to be. So that's why it's still kind of open, but it would have to be something absolutely amazing. And then my thing that I'm going to say, because everyone's been taking their big takes, I think that Christian McCaffrey is the best, most versatile running back in the NFL. But I think on this team, as far as a rusher, I think he's actually the third best rusher behind Elijah Mitchell and Mason.
Ooh,
that'll be my big take. Thank you
that's
for
a
listening.
hot take.
That is. Thank you.
All right, shout out to my guy Gammon. Hot take. He left on a hot note. Peacock and I, locked on 49ers. Make sure y'all listen to that. We'll come at you 5 days a week. Peacock and I were talking about that yesterday, where just like watching games where Elijah Mitchell was healthy, which he wasn't healthy most of the season, but you know, he's a really good runner. And I felt like, he just continued to improve throughout his rookie year to where I'm like, man, this guy, like, he runs very well. Then you watch him against the Bears coming out, and I'm like, ooh, wait. Like, between this combination between, Trey Lance and Elijah Mitchell is going to be good. And then Elijah Mitchell got hurt in the first half, and I don't think the 49ers scored again after that. Right. So that was kind of trouble. But Elijah Mitchell, he does run extremely well. That's a hot take. He runs well. He runs well. Shout out to Gammon coming on, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all talking about rap and stuff now. And it's interesting. It's because I listen to a lot of different stuff. And I appreciate everybody for, what and who they are. I can put on Waka Flocka. And, I ain't listening to Waka Flocka to learn some shit. Like, I'm listening to Flocka to, like, I just want to, like, okay, turn me up, I can listen to, I'm trying to think of another rapper that's, I don't know. I listen to a lot of different guys. So if I listen to King Von, I'm listening to King Von for a different reason than I would listen to Drake. If I'm listening to Drake, I listen to Drake for a different reason that I listen to my favorite rapper, which is Jay-Z, my favorite rapper of all time. So, I don't. I know there are people. Oh, this guy said. I listen to guys for different reasons. I listen to Nipsey Hussle, my second favorite rapper of all time. I listen to Nipsey for different reasons. I'm gonna listen to Jay-Z. And they all bring something different to the table. And I think it's like a lot like podcasters, right? Like y'all probably listen to me for a different reason that you listen to Grant Cohn or Larry Krueger, or I think myself and Brian Peacock, we have a different dynamic on our show. Peacock, y'all probably listen, you're going to expect a little something different out of Peacock than you are myself. So I don't look at anybody as like, hey, this guy just sucks. There are certain rappers who I just probably won't ever listen to, but for the majority of them, and when I say certain guys, I mean like, who's that guy? I got bras in Atlanta, and then they baby, and then whatever the dude was saying, like, I'm not gonna listen to him. Like, he's ass to me. But for a majority of the guys, I listen to them for why did they put this out the way that they did, and that's how I hear them through my ears. And it's not to compare them to another rapper that is probably different than them, if that makes sense. Jay-Z, Nipsey, Drake, all three drastically different. I listen to all three for different reasons. If I put on some Kendrick Lamar, I'm gonna put on Kendrick Lamar for a different reason. Now I'm gonna listen to Joyner Lucas. You feel me? Like, this is just, and I like the storytelling with Joyner Lucas, and but I listen to him for different reasons. So as far as numbers, but Kendrick is just a better rapper. Croc, listen to Soulja Boy. Listen, I'm not gonna act like I wasn't cranking that Soulja Boy back in the day. The boy up in it. Oh, what me cranking? What? Yeah, man, I was on that. I ain't had the glasses with the little white glasses on it though. But yeah. All right, y'all. I gotta get out of here. I got some private sessions to get to. I hope everybody has a great day, man. Hey, y'all get out, man. Get your steps in, man. Count your steps. All right, my steps at the end of the day, I'm pushing 14,000, 15, 16,000. All right, get your steps up, get your miles in, get your workout in. Hope everybody feels good. Hope everybody's healthy. Listen to some good music, some stuff that's going to put you in the right mind. Hey, listen to some Triple E, some Christian rap. All right, appreciate everybody that tuned in. Hit the like button and subscribe to this video. We got some good stuff coming out, some reports coming out of the training camp. Can't wait to hear all that. I'm out. Peace.